Hello my fragrance friends, it's Kat and I'm back today to talk about the watermelon fragrances I have in my collection. Now watermelon has been on the front of my mind in fragrances for two reasons. One, I have decided to pan a fragrance oil that I have that is a watermelon scented one. So I've been wearing that quite a lot and layering it with other fragrances and just playing around with how it works. And the other reason is because I have been eyeing off Oakcha fragrances. I don't know if I'm going to place an order yet or not, but one fragrance that has been in making me want to place an order is their watermelon jam, I think it's called, which is a very candy-like watermelon scent. And that just speaks to my soul. So I thought instead of actually ordering that, I'll just pull out the watermelon fragrances I have, which a lot of them are sort of candy fragrances, and just give them some love and see, do I need another one? So what I'm doing today is talking about my 5 watermelon fragrances, what I think about them, and which one ultimately is my favorite of the bunch. The first watermelon fragrance I picked up was actually this from Demeter. Now this is the watermelon Lollipop. This is a giant one. I got this really cheap. I never wear this. I think I've actually used this more as like a room spray than I have as a perfume. So that says a lot. This one was highly raved about. And when I was looking for a watermelon fragrance, this is the first thing that I saw people recommending. So I picked it up. I don't like this. I get a lot of pear in this. Apparently it's just sweet notes and watermelon notes. There's a mucky sort of overripe pear. Whenever I think of overripe fruit, I always associate with pear notes because that's often when I get that vibe from a fragrance, it's always pear in there. To me, this is, more generic sweet. There's a bit of floral in there as well, and maybe a little bit musky. So this is just something that I don't want to wear. It's too ick. It's too ick, and that's quite hard for me to especially with watermelon and candy scents. It's very hard for me to get to the place of ick, but this isn't very pleasant. Realistically, I'm not looking for real watermelon. I just want something that's yummy. That's ultimately what it is. Something that is nicer is this little roll-on perfume oil. Now this is from Mask Co, which is a home fragrance brand. I actually have this scent in reed diffusers and stuff in my house, so I thought I'd take the gamble with the perfume oil. I do like this. I think this is a nicer fragrance. It does still give a watermelon bubblegum scent, so it's very candy forward. It's not like you've just cut open a watermelon, but it is just a yummier version of this, whatever this is. I don't like this. So I think the notes of this is just watermelon. And again, I think this is really nice as a room product, like a room spray, a bathroom spray, a reed diffuser. My main issue with this is it just dissipates really quickly. And I think that's pretty common for watermelon in general. It's just not a long lasting note. So when I apply this, it's nice and it gives you a very, I'm definitely getting bubblegum in there. That's not just watermelon, but it's nice, but it disappears so quickly that it sort of becomes what was the point of using it? So I like this. I think it's sort of in the middle, in the mid range of what I've got. One fragrance that has brought watermelon back, and what I mean by that is I've noticed that in the early 2000s, there were quite some a lot of fragrances that used watermelon. I think around that time, that sort of aquatic, fresh, fruity scents were really popular. And there were some really awesome ones that I look back on. I didn't have them, but I wish I did. Ralph had a couple that had beautiful fruity watermelon notes in it. I wish they were still around. Britney Spears has some. I did try her green. It was jungle something. I did try that one in store. Again, it had some something that didn't sit quite well, but it did have nice watermelon notes. But I feel like those celebrity fragrances or those early 2000s fragrances really were where watermelon sort of peaked, and then it sort of has disappeared since then. Wave Child is one that's brought watermelon back. So this is by room 1015. This one to me is a funny one. I wouldn't say watermelon is the main thing I get. I think watermelon adds a bit of freshness and brightness to it. But some of the other notes, there's some citruses in the opening, which I don't get a lot of. It's not a sour note by any means. I think the citrus, the orange and the lemon, just give it a general fruity vibe, which also detracts a little bit from the watermelon. There's also coconut, ambergris, amberwood, cacao. Now, what I don't like about this fragrance is depending on, I think, my body heat, sometimes it ends up smelling really salty and a little bit like body odor. There's something just turns a bit funny with it. So this is more of a beachy vibe. So it's like fruity, aquatic, salty, sweaty, musky. And even though watermelon it is a prominent note, I wouldn't call this a watermelon fragrance. I don't love this. This is one that I'll probably pan in the future. I just use it as a reference because it's good to know, like, okay, this is what people are talking about. But it's not one that I want to reach for or that I particularly find very yummy. I did actually do a comparison with that one and a dupe of it, which is by Lattafa. This is Anna Abiyedh Coral. This is pretty much Wave Child but tweaked. And when I did a wear test comparison, like one on one arm, one on the other, this one had watermelon lasting a lot longer throughout the day. So if you like Wave Child but you want it to be fruitier and less sort of, like I said, coconut sweaty, this one is a fruitier version of it, and the watermelon does play a much more dominant role. I like this. This reminds me of that sort of early 2000s time where there was like a fruity, fresh, aquatic vibe to things. This is really nice. It's not like a really beast mode fragrance. It's not going to last you all day. It's not going to project really far, but it is a really nice, fresh, hot weather, easy to reach for, easy to sort of layer. And because we're going into the hotter weather in Australia, this is one that I'll probably keep out on my tray because it's just a nice, well-balanced watermelon. Yeah, I get florals, I get aquatic. The main differences with this and Wave Child, there is peach in the opening instead of lemon. So it's got watermelon, peach and orange. It's got coconut, white flowers. I do get a lot more floral from this. There's vanilla, musk and amber. So there's a bit of vanilla as well. So this just feels a little bit more mainstream, well balanced. It's not trying to be like, let's evoke a sweaty beach experience. This is like your more run of the mill early 2000s fragrance, which, yeah, I like. It's not groundbreaking. It's not like a must-have, but it's definitely my second favorite watermelon fragrance in my collection, which means my top watermelon fragrance in my collection is Australian Watermelon by Bujairami. Now, apparently this is a dupe for a Dolce & Gabbana fragrance. I haven't tried that, but I love this. This is a lot fruitier and a lot more sour and fresh. Oh my God, I love this one so much. Again, this is not like a real, like you've just cut into a watermelon. I actually get a lot more citrus in this one than the coral, the Lattafa coral. That one is supposed to have a lot of fruit in the opening, but I get more like lemon and freshness from this one. And it almost smells like a sour watermelon fruity candy. But that tartness just cuts a little bit of that sort of overly candy vibe. This is beautiful. So the notes of this are kiwi, watermelon, pink pepper, watermelon, cyclamen, jasmine, lemon tree, watermelon, musk, and sandalwood. So a lot of watermelon. It is watermelon heavy, but it is also quite zesty, a little bit like sweet, sour, fresh. I haven't compared it to the Dolce & Gabbana one. That one has similar notes without like the repeated watermelon in each step. But I have heard that that's a more sort of fresh, airy one. I would say this is just very fruity. So these are definitely my top two. This is probably my favorite and most reached for watermelon fragrance. But this one, you have to be in the mood for that sort of really fresh, fruity, little bit tart. And it's quite candy-like, whereas this one is a more aquatic, fresh, a little bit floral. So depending on what vibe I'm going for, I would reach for both of these. I would even layer the two, but these are definitely my top two in my collection. Followed by the Perfume roll-on oil, because that is the most true sort of bubblegum watermelon. This would be my second last because I wouldn't waste this on a room spray, but I just don't really want to reach for it. And then the Demeter watermelon lollipop to me is just a glorified room spray. So those are the watermelon fragrances that I own. I'd love to know if you love watermelon, what your favorite fragrance is and does it last? Have you tried watermelon jam from Oakja and do I need it? Please tell me. I want to know before Black Friday sales are done. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.